Tesla shares riding higher today after data from the Chinese Passenger Car Association showed that Tesla sold over 84,000 EVs throughout China in August.
Li Auto, a huge competitor to Tesla, the domestic competitor there, Tesla, under even more pressure from some of these domestic players.
There is some other news happening with Tesla as well over in China. Now, it's reportedly suing a Chinese firm over tech secret infringement.
Right now, China's data kind of mixes in hybrid as well as just pure EVs or BEVs, electric vehicles. So sometimes this data can be a little bit skewed. But if you're looking at the profit margins and when it comes to the per vehicle car sales in itself, Tesla still does outperform.
In this video, Tesla's stock goes up. Yahoo Finance really live up to their name. And a guest in the finance media absolutely stuns me by knowing what the fuck he's talking about and adding very important context. He's like the anti-Gordon Johnson, and I like it. Tesla's stock today up 4.69%. Nice. Market cap now just over $800 billion, at least for now. Still, in my opinion, the best risk-adjusted opportunity that I'm aware of in the stock market. No contest. $256.49 per share. Tesla's stock not too far off its 52-week high. Year to date up 137% over the last 1 year, however, still down 6%. By the way, I noticed a lot of people joined Patreon yesterday. Must have been something I said. Anyway, let's get into it.
Let's check in on some of the EV makers. Tesla shares riding higher today after data from the Chinese Passenger Car Association showed that Tesla sold over 84,000 EVs throughout China in August. That marks a 9.3% increase from a year ago. Sales of Tesla's China-made Model 3 and Model Y cars rose over 30% from a month earlier. So, this is good news for Tesla, especially considering how much competition is in China that's leading to the pricing wars that we're seeing across the sector.
So, don't want to rain on your parade here, but looking at China sales of Tesla vehicles month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year, doesn't really matter. Why? Because the Shanghai factory is Tesla's main global export hub. They don't just make vehicles in China and sell them in China. So looking at changes month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year doesn't paint the full picture. What really matters is how many vehicles produced in Shanghai was sold somewhere on planet Earth. There could be a particular month or quarter or year where Tesla exports an absolute fuck ton of vehicles out of China. Then we're going to say, oh my God, Chinese sales are collapsing. Tesla's year over year, month over month, quarter over quarter sales in China are collapsing. There's no demand. But if they sold the vehicles elsewhere, they sold the vehicles, period. Now, it's not to say that isn't interesting to see how many vehicles are being sold domestically in China. It's just really important to understand. Their Shanghai factory isn't a factory that's making vehicles in China for China, the end. It is literally designed to produce vehicles to export to other parts of the world where it makes no sense to have a local factory. China has the lowest labor costs and a very efficient factory design. So if they're going to be exporting vehicles from anywhere to other countries, it makes sense to be doing so from China because they have the lowest starting costs to actually produce the vehicles. But please don't tell that to the stock market. Of course, I don't know why Tesla stock moved today, but it is definitely possible. A lot of very intelligent, big institutional investors and or algorithms piled into Tesla stock today because of the amazing sales in China. But again, not really relevant. Of course, what else would we expect from the stock market? We saw what happened. Spoiler alert, tumbleweeds to Tesla stock after their stunning FSD V12 demo. If people understood, that might have been a strong catalyst, but people don't understand. Meanwhile, you have some irrelevant data out of Tesla's China factory showing production's about the same state that it's been for months. Suddenly the stock's up when most of the market's getting absolutely crushed. Makes total sense.
Last week, we saw Tesla once again cut their prices for its Model S and Model X in both the US and China. We'll see how that impacts demand and margins moving forward. But so far, it seems to be so good.
Yeah, and I think the sentiment here, at least more broadly speaking from the street, has been that they're willing to sacrifice some of the pressure that we're seeing on margins, at least in the short term, in order to kind of gain that sale picture, expand the market base, or really, I guess, in this instance, defend their market share, because we know that's such a critical issue here for Tesla, not only in China, but also obviously what's going on here in the U.S. But when you take a look at these sales numbers across the board that we've seen over the last couple of days, Li Auto, a huge competitor to Tesla, the domestic competitor there.
To suggest that Li Auto is a huge competitor of Tesla's, that is quite a stretch. In the most recent quarter, Tesla delivered more than 5 times as many vehicles as Li Auto did. Not 5% more, 5 times more.
In China, they delivered nearly 35,000 cars in August, up 663% from a year ago. So that massive jump just really speaks to the fact that Tesla, under even more pressure from some of these domestic players.
The SBS is palpable. Now, the fact that Li Auto deliveries are up a significant amount from this time last year. Cool story, bro. Good on Li Auto. They're ramping up production. But again, Tesla is still delivering about 5 times as many vehicles as Li Auto is. And spoiler alert, they're also making more than 10 times as much profit. Don't get me wrong, there are many companies in China producing vehicles and selling many of them in China and even exporting some to other parts of the world that are relatively compelling, not even close to a Tesla, but someone's got to be in 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 25th place, and reasonable value. They're ramping up production. They're not making a huge amount of profit, but hey, they're still solvent. That's a good start. These companies will be eating the lunch of Toyota, Volkswagen and many others a few years from now when we see a massive tsunami, an invasion of Chinese electric vehicles in the United States and Europe. You can fucking count on it. But to suggest that these companies are putting pressure on Tesla is absolutely absurd. It is literally the other way around. Tesla has the scale. The fact that Tesla is outselling all but one Chinese automotive company in China itself is absurd. But they are. Tesla is making more profit on every vehicle sold than anyone else, not just in China, but anywhere on the planet. A couple of exceptions, the likes of Ferrari, which, I mean, we don't even need to explain why that's the case, right? Tesla's putting pressure on these companies. Tesla's dictating pricing in the entire automotive industry. It's just absolutely bonkers that Yahoo are trying to frame this as if Chinese companies are putting pressure on Tesla. You know, let me bring up a graphic. Let me illustrate the point. On screen now, Chinese battery electric vehicle makers worldwide pre-tax profit for the first 6 months of 2023 versus Tesla in billions of dollars. Number 1, Tesla at about $5.7 billion in profits. All major Chinese EV makers combine profits for the first half of 2023, less than Tesla at $5.1 billion. I mean, yeah, who's putting pressure on who? I mean, are you serious, Yahoo? Oh, wait, they're not. I mean, it's in the name, Yahoo. Yahoo's going to Yahoo. SAIC in 2nd place made about $2 billion in the same span of time. Tesla made almost 6. BYD, despite claims that they're outselling Tesla in terms of electric vehicles, which, by the way, as we know, is false. Every time you hear this, they're including hybrids, which are ICE vehicles. What's their primary form of propulsion? An internal combustion engine. Sticking a vibrator-sized battery in an ICE vehicle and calling it an electric vehicle is fake news. BYD, selling lots of vehicles, many hybrids, and some electric vehicles, nowhere near as many as Tesla, making a fraction of the profits and not even $2 billion in profit for the first half of the year. BAIC, coming in 3rd at $1.8 billion. Li Auto, $500 million in the same span of time that Tesla's close to 6. Geely eking out a tiny profit here, $200 million. And for those wondering, Polestar still bleeding money. Xpeng bleeding lots of money, and NIO bleeding an absolute fuck ton of money. So yes, as Yahoo was saying, accurately, these Chinese automotive manufacturers are definitely putting a lot of pressure on Tesla. Sorry guys, fact check, false. It turns out some breaking news has just occurred. I have to take everything I just said back. As we can see on screen now, search interest for the world's best sedan, made by one of Tesla's competitors, has absolutely skyrocketed after a recent Super Bowl commercial. Oh, wait, hang on. Oh, that says Model 3, and there was no advertising. That's awkward.
And as they continue to increase their deliveries, as we've seen over the last several months, obviously Tesla needs to do something in order to boost future sales.
So I just want to make sure everyone watching understands. This clip from the aptly named Yahoo Finance Yahoos aired days after Tesla announced their refreshed Model 3. Tesla need to do something. Hello, global search interest for Model 3 through the fucking roof right now. Rumors are coming through on X.com from source, trust me bro, that approximately 90,000 new orders have occurred in China alone for Tesla's Model 3. Now again, these are rumors, can't verify them. The source is trust me bro. However, it's obvious that a new refreshed Model 3 will have resulted in some new orders, especially given the fact that there is a surge in global search interest for this very vehicle. Of course, it's not like Tesla's going to keep doing this, making their products better, more compelling, and over time, cheaper. Oh wait, no, that's exactly what they're going to do. That's how they get to 20 million vehicles sold per year. It's going to keep happening. They're going to make their products better and cheaper. That's not going to stop. It's going to keep happening indefinitely. So that is something that Tesla will continue to do throughout the entire decade and next decade as well.
Let's dive into some of the specific details for how Tesla and others are dealing with this, Renita Young, because again, despite headwinds in the Chinese economy, the Tesla numbers for deliveries in China were actually pretty impressive, it seems like.
Yeah, they're showing a year-over-year and a month-over-month increase. Those deliveries came in better than what folks thought they would have been. But they can thank the price cuts that they've been making, of course, over this year for really incentivizing buyers to come in and buy. However, that's kind of a mixed message, as we'll get into later, because since May, those numbers have not been as strong as what some analysts say that they wanted them to be, right? And so that's because some prospective car buyers are waiting for prices to go even lower.
Wow.
Right. And so, but so far for August, it was a 9.4% increase year over year to just over 84,000. Month over month sales, those climbed to just over 64,000 units sold in July from the 64,000 units that were sold in July. Now, reminder, the Shanghai Gigafactory manufactures Model Y and the Model 3 EVs for Tesla.
So again, to reiterate, it's interesting to look at this data. But we can't draw any conclusions from this data because, once again, Shanghai is Tesla's main export hub. In fact, what were the headlines last month about Tesla China sales? On the screen now from Reuters. Tesla's China-made EV sales in July down 31% month over month. Every month it's a headline. Either a huge surge in Chinese sales or a huge collapse in Chinese sales. It's their fucking export hub. On screen now, we are looking at Tesla sales in Australia per month and year. Guess where all the vehicles sold in Australia come from? China. First of all, let's focus on 2022. For some strange reason, there were literally zero Tesla vehicles sold in Australia in January 2022. It's almost like they went somewhere else, like maybe countries that aren't Australia. Why would that happen? It's possible that maybe it doesn't make sense to put a couple of vehicles on one boat and a couple of vehicles on another boat and send them to totally different countries when instead you could just lump them together. What a crazy idea. Same thing in February. Nothing in Australia. Then suddenly in March, a huge surge. Now, let's ask the question. If all of these vehicles here, sold in Australia in March 2022, were produced in Shanghai, does that mean that they weren't sold in countries other than Australia? The answer would be yes. So if we're looking at data in particular countries where vehicles produced in Shanghai are sold, which could include China and many other regions as well, if a fuck ton of vehicles, relatively speaking, went to Australia in March, but not in January or February, would it not then follow that we might see a decline in sales in some other regions because some of those vehicles ended up going to Australia in March instead of the other regions? Spoiler alert, yes. In April, approximately fuck all vehicles. In May, fuck all. June, fuck all. July, none. August, loads. September, a fuck ton. You guys get the point here. It's not very consistent. There's a lot of lumpiness in these deliveries. Once again, the reason is because putting vehicles on boats, you want to have a full boat rather than sending a few vehicles here and a few vehicles here. This creates a huge amount of lumpiness in the overall data. If we focus on 2023 in yellow, it's the same fucking story. We have a month here of June, which absolutely towers over every other month of deliveries. These vehicles were all made in China. This is the same story for regions everywhere that are supplied by the Shanghai factory. You don't see consistent deliveries every single month. There's a lot of lumpiness. If more vehicles go to this country on one month and this country on the next month, you're going to see a huge amount of volatility. So we can't be reading into the tea leaves too much, looking at month over month sales in China alone and going, oh, there's less demand, or the competition's heating up. Look, they sold less vehicles. It doesn't make any sense. Then again, since when did the finance media make any sense?
This is pretty impressive, the fact that they're getting these numbers. To your point, it comes with the cuts, so there's a little bit of a trade-off there. Market's not exactly enthusiastic about it. I'm a little bit surprised, especially when you look at some of their peers. It looks like Tesla is leading in this country right now.
Well, right now it has the highest month-over-month percentage jump, over 30%. But Li Auto actually had the highest percentage jump year over year. That jumped about 664% higher than last year. But the number of actual vehicles delivered in China, they were all dwarfed by the Warren Buffett-backed company, BYD company, and Tesla is number 2 after that when it comes to the actual number of the deliveries.
Okay, so BYD growing pretty fast here. There's definitely a lot of competition nipping at their heels, of course. I still feel, though, that the fact that they've managed to figure out how to kind of thread that needle right now in an environment where people could easily just not be buying at all or saying it's too expensive. The fact that they're still able to put out some volume, kind of surprised the stock's not doing a little bit better. No analysts or anything chiming in, I guess.
Right, but there is some other news happening with Tesla as well over in China. Now, it's reportedly suing a Chinese firm over tech secret infringement.
What a shock. That would never happen. Tech infringement in China? What's going on?
The king of EVs, I think, is that the story? Is it from the Journal?
Yes, we are seeing that from the Journal here, and they're actually really talking about their ability to expand their charging stations, and that could be a pretty significant core of their business here moving forward, and rightfully so. It's actually one of the fastest growing areas of Tesla, and when you're looking at the charging stations as well as the storage or any energy storage space here, they are calling out the fact that Tesla is able to be able to get federal grant awards at around, when they put their bids in for these federal grants, they're around 50% less when it comes to cost compared to its competitors. And they do believe that the construction costs for these charging stations are more efficient than other competitors as well. So this could also be a little bit of a windfall. And Alex, as some companies that have the ability to gain government funding really do rely on that type of funding, and usually is a pretty secured way to be able to gain revenue here. So that expansion can definitely help out. And when we are looking at the market landscape in itself, we are seeing a lot of the competitors or major competitors here in the United States really trying to adopt Tesla's charging stations and really forming these partnerships with them. So if they could corner that particular market, that could be once again another tailwind when it comes to this name here. And that's what the Wall Street Journal is really calling out here.
So to be clear, Tesla absolutely has already cornered the market in terms of EV charging and the North American charging standard. They literally named their charging standard the North American charging standard before anyone had adopted it, knowing what was going to happen. And now, what Tesla knew would happen is happening. Everyone's coming crawling, hey Tesla, can we use your charger? How do we put it in our vehicles? All right, okay, shake hands. Okay, we'll put it. You don't want to charge it? What, really? We can use it for free? Oh, you mean your mission statement's actually an honest statement of your mission to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Oh, well, so we don't have to pay you any money. We can just put them on our vehicles. Oh, wow, it's pretty cool. And also, to be clear, well, there is a lot of free money on offer. Honestly, totally unnecessary at this point in time. If it's available, Tesla will take it. But Tesla doesn't need this free money. It just so happens that, because they're so vertically integrated, the cost for Tesla to build electric vehicle chargers, high-speed chargers, is about half that of everyone else in the marketplace, sometimes as much as 70% cheaper. And remember, I covered this in a recent video here on YouTube. It was more than a decade ago. One more time. More than a decade ago, when Tesla first announced their supercharging network. More than a decade ago. They're now being rewarded with the courage, vision, insight, and leadership in terms of building out this charging network before anyone, apart from Tesla and maybe Tony Seba, thought electric vehicles made sense.
One thing to kind of also note, I think right now is just coming up with the infrastructure strategy. And if we see Tesla really trying to put out a plan for the federal government and for this industry as well, to be able to select certain areas to put these charging stations at. Now, I think that could also, gain a little bit more momentum when it comes to this business here in the near term and long term, especially in an election year, which is where they could be on the ballot, if you will, in some respects, to be able to try to gain additional funding. And I think both sides of the aisle are really open to that type of that infrastructure spending when it comes to EVs, because we do know that this is going to be the wave of the future. So that's what the Wall Street Journal is also reporting here. We also had some China EV numbers that came out over the weekend here, and they did state that Tesla actually made around 84,159 China-made EVs here. That was around a 9.3% increase on a year-over-year basis. And if you're looking at the Model 3 and the Model Y, that actually rose about 30.9% on a month-over-month basis when it comes to those deliveries. So we are seeing some growth here and some impact when it comes to these pricing wars that we are seeing here in China. But at the end of the day, Tesla has committed to having this strategy of trying to be very price flexible. And with the infrastructure that they've already built out with these gigafactories, they want to be able to maximize them as much as they possibly can, because if they do not, then the incremental cost per vehicle also increases, which is not going going to be a benefit for them. Now, we did hear some chatter last week when it came to their Berlin factory and potentially having them reduce their production targets here for the end of July and into August. We're going to see if that actually does come to fruition here. Maybe that's some softness in the market, or maybe they are retooling it for another model that they're going to bring out here in the near future. But
spoiler alert, yeah, that's exactly what's happening globally right now. Not all exactly at the same time. Tesla has a refreshed Model 3 now, entering production in China first. They're already taking deliveries for the new Model 3 in the regions that the China factory supplies, at least some of them, including Australia. But Tesla told us ahead of time, they flagged this, there will be slowdowns, a reduction in production in Q3 for upgrades, aka retooling, new production lines for the refreshed Model 3. Of course, I cannot wait for the headlines. Just like we see all the discussion and headlines, China deliveries in July down, up, August up. The exact same thing is going to happen when Q3 deliveries and production globally for Tesla are lower than they were in Q2. People are going to read into this like it's a big deal. Some of these people just stupid and others disingenuous, as opposed to everyone going, they told us the production would be down because there's planned shutdowns for upgrades. Shout out to the refreshed Model 3, so cool story, it's a non-starter. Those are not the headlines, however, that we will see. What we will see, does the global production collapses down 17% in Q3, whatever. I can see it now.
When you're looking at the China data, we are seeing a lot of cars being sold here. They are capturing some market share, and I think that's a really big positive for Tesla, and we are seeing the shares up around 4% in the session right now.
You know what I find interesting about Tesla, Kevin, that it actually is against its peers that are the domestic Chinese manufacturers, but it's not actually on top when it comes to the numbers, on a numbers basis. It did on percentage basis month over month, but can you tell us a little bit about how its competitors performed versus Tesla during that quarter?
Yeah, so the biggest competitor that they have right now is BYD, and they actually delivered around 274,000 vehicles for the month here, and that was actually around a 57.5% increase on a year-over-year basis. But one thing to note, Nicole, BYD really does focus on selling hybrid vehicles. So
this guy's got a brain and he's using it. This is unbelievable. As soon as the BYD sales numbers are mentioned, he jumps in and goes, by the way, there's a lot of ton of hybrids. Round of applause. It's rare to see somebody with a brain providing important context when mentioning BYD sales. This guy's a legend.
Right now, China's data kind of mixes in hybrid as well as just pure EVs or BEVs, battery electric vehicles. So sometimes this data can be a little bit skewed. And the reason why they kind of mingle these two data points together is because the majority of the population that's buying these hybrids are really only utilizing the electric portion of the hybrid vehicle because they live in predominantly populous areas. And so that's why they really mingle these numbers together. But if you're looking at the profit margins and when it comes to the per vehicle car sales in itself, Tesla still does outperform.
What an absolute legend. Not only does he call out the BYD hybrid intermingling of the sales data, but then goes on to point out that Tesla is making way more money per vehicle sold than all of the so-called competition. I don't know what else to say. It's so rare to have somebody in the mainstream finance media talking Tesla who knows what the hell's going on and is providing important context. Strange glitch in the matrix today.
They're just not outperforming when it comes to pure volume being delivered to China customers. But once again, you have to have that balance of having the most deliveries and or the better profit margins. And that's really why we have seen a huge premium when it comes to Teslas, because they're able to profit a lot more when it comes to their cars at 18%, 19% here if you're looking at the United States, rather than maybe some other EV players or hybrid players that are out there that are only making around 5% or maybe 6% margins when it comes to the cars. So obviously they need to sell more in order to be a little bit more profitable. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, but Tesla's definitely taking it in stride and continuing to ramp up their production in China. And hopefully we start seeing a little bit of an end to this price war, a little bit more price stability here, and that's going to provide investors a little bit more ease or calmness when it comes to the future outlook for Tesla here in the near term. In the long term, investors that invest in Tesla are really bullish on this name, and I continue to talk to them on a day-by-day basis.
That might explain it. This guy's actually talking to Tesla investors who've probably, on average, done their homework and understand the company a little bit better than many of the talking heads in the finance media and most Wall Street analysts on a daily basis. It's now starting to make sense. The important context.
You know, Kev, I don't know why we're continued to be surprised by this. I mean, this is just seemingly every single day. There's a million stories on Tesla, and At least today, the balance of them are shifted to the positive. Stock up almost 5%, though. It's pretty impressive. Thanks to Kevin Green for the breakdown.
Good job, Kevin Green. I shouldn't be so impressed, but when I hear someone in the finance media talking Tesla who knows what's going on, it's such a rare occurrence. I've got to point it out and, in fact, praise it. Bit of contrast, earlier in this video, the Yahoos on Yahoo Finance really living up to their name. Apparently, Tesla's under major pressure, which is why they're out selling and making more money than every other company producing electric vehicles on the planet. It's why we've seen global search interest for Tesla's Model 3 go vertical after they ran a very expensive Super Bowl ad. Oh wait, no, after they refreshed the Model 3, spent zero money on advertising, yet suddenly have seen a surge in search interest and obviously orders as well for the new Model 3. And Tesla stonk up nearly 5% today because, well, why not? It's going to happen sometimes. Athletic Greens AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. Athletic Greens AG1 is an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a fuck ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. Certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point. It's something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy, wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1 shit, is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, snake oil salmon's sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, When I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. And remember, there is a 90-day money-back guarantee. There's nothing to lose here. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link at the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links at the pinned comment, see you over on Twitter and or Patreon, and don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.